it's very rare that we have someone here who is the most famous person that has ever been associated with this program. It's not Kevin Miller. It's not Tea Party Bob. It is this gentleman here. And the last time we had him on, we had the computer dysfunction. So hopefully this doesn't happen. But
go enjoy your beer and ride your ATV and watch sports. We'll run the country.
Our great friend Chris Troupis, spoken when he ran for Attorney General, it seems like a lifetime ago.
It was a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And a lot has happened since then.
You seem very happy with your life outside of politics.
I am so happy to have just shunted that to the side. God is great. Life is beautiful outside of politics and outside of all of the hubbub. I've gotten back into contact with nature and watching the beauty of God's creation.
Yep.
I get to take pictures and
Right.
But there's real things happening still, and I'm still involved in a lot of that too.
I know you do some work for a lot of good conservative groups, and again, I tell you, don't get caught up in the muck because it's a challenging thing. But before we get to this big story, you put a lot on the line when you ran for Attorney General. You were an attorney. You had a great life. You still do. Even though that's been years ago. What was your takeaway from that? We had Senator Galloway on this morning, and I mean, she's like doing all this work, and it's a part-time job, and it's on one hand, it's a commitment to public service. On the other hand, it's such an incredible cost.
It's there are some people who are true believers in this country, and they still remember, they grew up with this idea that this is the greatest experiment in freedom that the world has ever seen. But it has to be fought to be preserved. We have to stand up to preserve it. She's like, that's why she's doing this. It's obvious. She has a love for our country, a love for freedom, a love for everything that God has given us and promised us here. And this experiment could fail. It could disappear, and it could disappear in less than a generation.
Yeah, and we're seeing that. So I don't want to sit on the lead.
Yeah.
The FBI, Representative Comer came out with some startling allegations. And this is something that you had kind of said on the low. Your brother was involved with helping hold people accountable 5 years ago, as were you. Little did you know that the scope of the federal government would be used against him, where his individual liberty was freedom, his fiscal solvency threatened. And then they came for you, if you could. I mean, I wish I could give you justice on how to build this up, but I don't want to spoil you sharing what really happened to you and your family.
Well, let me tell you this. My sister told me this last night. She said, if somebody pitched a script of this to Hollywood, they would say, that is too outlandish to believe. Nobody would ever believe this. We couldn't do this. The entire leadership of the Democrat Party was colluded together and conspired together to take out the conservative movement in America, and by any means necessary. And they weaponized the federal government to do that. I was enjoying my retirement in 2020. I had 4 years retired, and my brother called me to go back on a fishing trip and in Wisconsin. But when we got there,
you were a cameraman.
Yeah,
joined the Nikon.
Oh, Nikon then, but I'm a Sony guy now. So, but I still have my Nikon.
We lose so many people to the Sonys. I'm a Canon guy still, but yes, Sonys are brilliant.
Well, I would have done Canon myself but I had lenses of Nikon
Sure.
and Sony. Sorry. I know that's a poor excuse.
But you were enjoying your life. You were out. Hold on. You were out.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was really enjoying it. And he says, well, come on, let's go. We'll go on a fishing trip. And we got there. And that day that I got there, he got a call from I can't remember. It was either Donald Jr. or Eric. Anyway, one of the Trumps. And they asked him if he would do a recount in Wisconsin for the 2020 presidential election in Wisconsin. And Jim said, well, I'm retired. He was a retired judge at the time. And he said, no, look, you know what? I says, I'm retired. I don't want to do this. There's nothing in this for me. And they said, well, if you don't do it, it won't happen. There is no plan B.
And for people, not to interrupt, Chris, but for people that really don't understand, Wisconsin was the epicenter.
Totally. It was Biden won Wisconsin by less than 20,000 votes. And so it was a turning point. And so we agreed to do it. And I managed Madison, Wisconsin, in Dane County. I oversaw the recount in Dane County. And my brother-in-law, Stu, he oversaw the recount in Milwaukee. And Jim headed up the team, and he was the legal maestro. My brother is a brilliant, brilliant attorney. And so we conducted a recount. We had 4,000 volunteers. That was our Thanksgiving. It was all over Thanksgiving and everything. And so we thought it would be done. We determined that there were over 200,000 illegal votes cast in Wisconsin. And the difference that we had over all the other battleground states, Wisconsin has only paper ballots. And they have no advanced voting, early voting. You have absentee ballots with applications, and you have paper ballots. So we were able to document by looking at the applications and the paper ballots themselves that there were all these illegal votes. Well, that's getting into the weeds. The point is, after we found this, my brother filed a legal action, went to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. 3 justices in the Wisconsin Supreme Court agreed that the election had been basically stolen. 4 other justices on the Supreme Court, 3 Democrats and a pseudo-Republican, decided that we had brought the case too late. So they said, can't hear the merits. And so that's how it ended, except that my brother took an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. In order to do that, you have to preserve the president's right to those electoral votes. And in order to preserve your rights, the electoral college is what elects the president. And there was a Democrat slate and a Republican slate of electors. My brother had the Republican slate of electors meet in December on the the first Monday after the second Wednesday in December, which Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution and and Title 2 of the U.S. Code requires, absolutely requires. He had them meet. He actually informed the Attorney General in Wisconsin that was what they were going to do. Attorney General sent him back a letter saying, absolutely, that's what is required to be done under the Constitution. And he told the Wisconsin Supreme Court. They met. And after that, of course, we had the January 6th happened and all of that. And the U.S. Supreme Court denied cert. And here we are. 2 years later, the Wisconsin Attorney General filed felony charges against my brother.
The same one who...
Same one. And he barred from that case every attorney in his office who had participated in advising my brother that this was the only thing he could do. And now he's bringing felony charges saying, well, it's a forgery and a fraud to have alternate electors. Now, he's kind of ignoring the fact that Rutherford B. Hayes did it, John F. Kennedy did it, Al Gore didn't do it in Florida, or he would have been president in 2001. And
well, that Florida, I know, and that's such a remarkable story there. But you're going to get me.
Yeah. So in any event, my long story short, and we don't want to get into the weeds.
Well,
about
hold on. By the way, our great friend Chris Troupis joining us here at 580 KIDO, and again, Chris is this man.
Go enjoy your beer and ride your ATV and watch sports. We'll run the country.
He ignored that, so he and his family are in Wisconsin. They discover these fraudulent ballots. They go through the legal process. It's shut down. 2 years later, you guys are all hanging out, and then...
My brother faces 17 different legal actions, bar complaints, civil actions, and a criminal indictment alleging 10 felony counts for naming 10 electors, Republican electors in Wisconsin, and that case is pending now. It is set for preliminary hearing December 15. They want to put my brother in jail for the rest of his life simply for defending Donald Trump's right to contest the election, something that has been done since 1797. Absolutely, it's the most ludicrous, absurd, insane thing you can possibly imagine. But my brother has spent close to $2 million defending himself. He's close to losing everything. I'm just concerned that he's 72 years old. I'll be 74 next month. And I'm concerned that he's not going to survive this. But the thing that really gets me is, and I was warned back in 2021.
Before we get to that, though, can the president stop this now or not? Because it's state action?
He really can't, because federal pardons will not affect a state action. And so, he's been advised by the Justice Department. He met with Ed Martin at the Justice Department. He's been advised. They agree with everything he did. Every single thing he did was absolutely right. But it's federal versus state. And Josh Kaul, who the Attorney General of Wisconsin, wants to be governor in Wisconsin. And he needs a scalp. And he wants my brother's scalp. And that's what this is all about. It's also about the Democrats warning conservatives, and that's you out there, warning conservatives, don't you dare question anything we do, because we'll come for you. And to get to my story, I'm a nobody. Wait
a minute. You're somebody with us.
Well, I appreciate that, Kevin.
You're
you're
big
somebody
star.
with me, too.
Well,
Your voice is so important here, because we don't have – this is it. Okay? If you weren't here, this word wouldn't get out.
Isn't that amazing, though, that in this case, no coverage, and you're an insurrectionist, and your brother, and to bankrupt him, and the amount of stress that you and your family, especially your brother, is under.
Oh, it's been for the last 4 years. There's a reason I used to call in here, and and I haven't, and I was warned. Do not let your voice be heard on anything you want to sink into oblivion, because that's the only safe place to be. Well, it turned out it wasn't a safe place.
And that was from a pretty credible source.
Oh, yeah. That was from a very, very credible source.
How did that make you feel?
Scared.
Because you lawyers, you guys are used to taking on people, but there's taking people on, and then there's the federal government and the state government.
You don't have a chance against them. You do not have a chance. They could pour money and money. The Wisconsin Attorney General is not paying for this prosecution. This is being brought by Project 65, by the Georgetown University Law Center, by Soros, by everyone else. They're funneling it. They have other attorneys writing briefs and doing things. This is a massive undertaking by the Democrat machine. And it didn't just happen in Wisconsin. It happened in Nevada. It happened in Arizona. It happened in Pennsylvania and Georgia. But the Wisconsin case, my brother's case, is by far the worst. And if they hadn't had the hubris to target 8 senators, you'd never hear about it at all. We would just be kind of left behind on the field of battle. So for me, it was the idea that there's an FBI file on me, and that.
Well, now, how did you learn about Arctic Frost, and that you were not only your brother and your brother-in-law, but you were mentioned?
I only heard about it when I got an email a couple of days ago, just before they had the press conference that Ron Johnson and Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz and Eric Schmidt appeared at. Just before that, I got an email with the list. And just a short email said, by the way, you're on the list. And so that was my first real confirmation that I was on. I already suspected it, but it's incredulous, because all I did was volunteer to go and conduct a recount, which is your constitutional right. That's all. I didn't even file the legal papers, because I became inactive as an attorney, so I couldn't sign the papers with my brother. If I had done that, I'd probably be facing the same thing he's facing. And thank God I didn't. But on the other hand, I feel bad that I can't be sitting next to my brother when he's going through hell. because I want to be there.
It sounds like Rasputin.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Night of the Long Knives, whatever your analogy is. So, again, the Trump folks can't do anything. Senator Johnson, one of the most influential senators in the country, can he do anything? Are people, and again, I say this not as someone who wants to exploit your situation, but
Yeah.
are there fundraisers? Are there anything to help your brother?
There have been people who've raised money, and he has a GoFundMe account, and he has a Give Send Go account, and there are people raising money. By no means is it a lot of money. So far, we haven't seen a lot from the federal government. We're very hopeful that the fact that they went after these senators means that somebody's going to wake up. And there are things that the federal government can do. Personally, and you're speaking, this is my opinion. I think that what Josh Kaul has done is a RICO violation. I think it's racketeering. I think they conspired around all of the states and the various attorneys general in the Democrat states. They colluded, and what they've done is criminal. And I think that it violates federal civil rights laws, no question. No question it violates my brother's due process and civil rights laws. I think my civil rights were violated. I've got a claim against the federal government and the FBI for what they've done. At this point, I don't know how far it's gone for me.
Let me jump in. 580 KIDO, our great friend Chris Troupis. As someone who's at one time an officer of the court, your whole life has been about the institution, the rule of law.
And that's the saddest thing for me. I'm a naive guy. And
well, wait a minute now, Chris.
Go enjoy your beer and ride your ATV and watch sports. We'll run the country.
Yeah.
But I am a naive guy. I am a
You
Don
believe in the system.
I'm a Don
Yes.
Quixote. I believe I have fallen for so many worthy causes in my life, and that they're uncountable anymore. But one of them, I became a lawyer because my father was a lawyer, and he was the most respected man in 3 counties. And that's why my brother became a lawyer. And I didn't become a lawyer to make money. I became a lawyer to help people. It was probably one of the dumbest things I ever did. If I had decided to make money, I'd be really comfortable now.
No, I thought all you lawyers make money.
Yeah, well, I didn't make as much as most people, but that's okay. God has been so good to me, and He has provided so much for me, and I am so thankful that the Lord Jesus Christ saved me and loves me, because my career's been wonderful.
Think of all the good work you've done for people, though. As a lawyer.
That is what sustains me. But here's the other thing, and why I'm so saddened. You take an oath as a lawyer, and to uphold your ethics, your honesty, your integrity. And my dad told me your reputation is everything. Your character is everything. How you treat everybody matters. Well, guess what? It's been thrown out the window by a whole generation. And the judicial system, I looked at judges like they were above it all. They were supposed to, and I find out instead they're just so many just hacks.
Well, let's get back to that in a minute. Our great friend Chris Troupis joining us here on 580 KIDO. If you'd like to, are you allowed to take calls at all?
Sure, you bet.
All right, 580-5436, 580 KIDO. And we appreciate our friend Chris Troupis coming in. I wish that it were under better circumstances here at 580 KIDO. And I'm not going to call you Chris. It's a sign of respect, Mr. Troupis. And that's not me being the usual facetious. It's out of respect, Mr. Troupis. Your thoughts on Jack Smith?
Oh, the man is besides being a raving lunatic, he's a monster. He's a total monster. I'm one of these guys that believes in demon possession, and I would say that you look at his eyes and you can see it. He's crazy eyes.
Have we reached a point, and this is what I need to ask you, as a fellow institutionalist, have we reached a point that let's say everything is true, and I believe it's true with you. You don't need my affirmation, but the FBI, Jack Smith, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, McCabe, Strzok, Page, all of it is corrupt by the deep state. How do we save our system if it's been so contaminated?
Yeah, I've waffled back and forth on this point. At first, I thought it's not salvageable; it's simply gone.
Well, that's not good for us.
No, but I don't ever believe that. You know, God can perform miracles. I've seen them, and He's performed miracles in this. What I saw on the floor of the convention center in Madison, Wisconsin, in 2020 was a miracle. I watched. So just for an example, there are 3 commissioners on the election commissioners, and of course they're Democrats, and the information that we needed to prove that there were illegal ballots cast, they had, but they didn't have to give it to us. And we were able to persuade them that it was in their best interest to hand it over to us.
Right.
God did that. I didn't do that.
Right.
And so, but no, I believe that, the work that Charlie Kirk did and the generation that's coming up, they can save America.
Yeah.
And I believe that.
But they've just, he's a martyr now.
He's a martyr. Yeah.
And you remember the 60s. How does this compare? Obviously, we don't have the bombings, thankfully, but we are targeting people, the legal system targeting your family.
Yeah.
Mr. Kirk was assassinated. There are threats all the time. Look, there are threats against Democrats and Republicans, primarily Republicans. And you're going, why do I want to do this?
Yeah, that's exactly. I've stopped. I've pretty much stopped doing it.
Right.
I'm hopeful. I am really, really hopeful that when the light is fully shed on this, that there are enough good people still in the world, still in America, who are willing to put their lives and their fortunes on the line. There are enough of those people still left that we can save America. And maybe that's just the Don Quixote in me too. I hope not, but I still have belief in good people.
Well, I would agree with you on that, but how do we get it back? Because now you have this other element known as the media, where you're an insurrectionist, you're a guy trying to overturn. Never mind if you're right, doesn't matter. So we have this powerful, and never mind the young people with the TikTok and all that stuff, but I'm just talking about the old legacy media, where if it's the libs, they're all right and you're wrong. How do we overcome that?
Wow.
I love asking the question, sir.
I know, and it's a question that I have struggled greatly with because, like I said, I waffled back and forth. At times I'm hopeful, and at other times I just say, well, I'm glad that I'm old.
You're a young 74, though. I'd have you about 10 years younger at least.
Thank you so much.
Your life agrees with you. More with Chris Troupis coming up. Don't forget our friends at Beacon Plumbing. Stop freaking, call Beacon today. They bring you Fox News 580 KIDO. And welcome back. Kevin Miller with our great friend Chris Troupis here. We wish it were under better circumstances. At least you're not in jail. Before we get to, again, Arctic frost and you and the solution to save the Republic, did January 6th hurt you, your brother, and all the good people that were using the legal process to have a fair election?
It destroyed it. We had a case pending before the United States Supreme Court on the Wisconsin recount, and we had 3 Wisconsin Supreme Court justices who set out the facts that we proved. And by the way, we didn't prove there were fraudulent votes. That was the problem, is you're trying to prove fraud. Fraud requires a bunch of different legal elements. We proved they were illegal ballots, that the law said this is what a ballot has to be. This is how you have to vote. You can't vote in a different way. The application's got to be right. We found the legal inadequacies, so we found illegal votes. If the U.S. Supreme Court had, if January 6th hadn't happened, I believe the U.S. Supreme Court would have taken our case. And if they had taken that case, Donald Trump might have been president in 2021. Now, and the January 6th committee had my brother on the witness list, and they never called him. And they didn't call him for a reason. And Jack Smith didn't prosecute my brother for a reason, because we had the goods. we had all the facts, and Jim would have blown the lid off of the whole thing, and they knew it. We were talking about computer errors, computer records, or any of that. We were talking about paper ballots and paper applications that we could show were illegal. We had the hard evidence. And that's why there's no federal prosecution of my brother. That's why Jack Smith never brought anything. It's only the state of Wisconsin, and they're only doing it now because Josh Kaul wants to be governor.
And he's actually not getting funded by the state of Wisconsin?
Well, we believe that his funding is coming through. He's spending a whole lot more money than what the state of Wisconsin could pay him for this, and he's getting briefing and everything else by outside attorneys. It's coming from Project 65 and from all these other sources. I don't have the solid background in that, but my brother does.
Right, but the fascinating thing about this is, even though the game has changed, we still have this.
It's still there. It's like the snake goes into hiding, but it's still there, and it's still doing stuff that you don't see. So, Donald Trump won the election. The Republicans are running the.
But if you don't mind, sir,
Yeah.
if I could just go back to, and I hate to get all formal with you,
No,
but
please.
the utmost respect for you. I go back to January 6th.
Yeah.
And many people, and again, people are saying it was this, it was that. No, it was breaking and entering at the very least.
Yeah, it was wrong.
It was.
It was stupid, was what it was. It was
Right.
just stupid. And it was falling into a trap. And, that's the problem is you talk about, I've been duped, but, this was so big and so obvious that
And again, not to lead you on this, I say this again, you've forgotten more than I'll ever know. So it allowed the federal government to go after everybody.
to demonize everybody.
Right, no one was safe.
No, it allowed them to demonize everybody, and in fact, they accused my brother of formulating the alternate electors scheme, they called it, which was the cause of January 6th. They accused my brother of being the cause of January 6th. And
Wait a minute, I thought Donald Trump was the cause of January 6th. I thought, but don't tell the president that. He'll get mad that he's being usurped on that. But how in the world could that happen? How could this guy in Wisconsin with paper ballots and his brother and brother-in-law be the impetus for this rebellion?
So we're going into the weeds here, but if you take a look at the January 6 hearings, it all started with a December 12 memo from Ken Chesborough to my brother. Ken Chesborough was on our Wisconsin team, and he wrote a memo and he talked about an alternate elector strategy. And that memo ended up, they said that the presentation of alternate electors to Pence, to Vice President Pence, that he was going to basically blow up the election using this alternate elector scheme. And so when the list of Republican electors from Wisconsin got to Vice President Pence on January 6th, they claimed that is what the cause of the January 6th insurrection was. So, but my brother was never charged with any of that. Because they knew that he was simply following the Constitution.
Right. So, by the way, you guys were never compensated for this, were you?
We were compensated for the recount part. My brother spent endless amounts of time after that. We did get paid.
Like what, minimum wage?
Yeah, it was a little bit better.
I mean, after a little better, but not considering all the. I mean,
no.
If you guys were out, digging ditches with me and Lejo, well, Lejo, not me. I mean, you would have made more money
A little bit more.
based on the hours put in.
Isn't that the way it always is?
But we're all about ROI here, so here you guys go into this because you're thinking, there's nothing wrong with this. We're above board. We're going through the courts, and now we have you being told, Chris Troupis, be careful what you do, who you talk to, and what you say, because you could be next.
Yeah. Well, they already have you on a list, and it's interesting. We took a trip overseas, and I have had global entry because we go in and out of the country on trips, and got in the line for global entry and got up to the front, and the guy says, "You don't have global entry. It's been canceled." And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? My brother can't go to Canada fishing anymore. We go every year on a fishing trip. We've gone 60 times to Canada fishing every year. It's what my brother and I do. He hasn't been able to go for the last several years because he's charged with felonies. Yeah, it's changed our lives, and
Well,
it's sad.
It is, and you're just a guy here in Idaho.
Yeah, that's the point. If they could come after me just because I'm willing to volunteer to do what's necessary to protect our fundamental freedoms, our constitutional rights, to ensure fair elections, and all I'm doing is I'm just a volunteer, and now I'm, a public enemy.
And again, you have the media feeding this frenzy. So back to the point you wanted to make before I callously interrupted you. How can you save the system, or what is the solution, the disinfectant?
So this was a concerted effort by the entire leadership of the Democrat Party, and everything they did was illegal. There has to be a consequence, and the consequence has to be serious, and it has to be thorough. Every single person who's been involved in this from day one needs to be prosecuted and go to jail. Every single one of them. And they need to set aside the pardons. Joe Biden pardoned Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray and all of these other people. Everything needs to be set aside. They need to be called to account. The Democrat Party and anybody in the future who thinks of doing this must know there are consequences to be paid, and they have to be severe. That's the only thing that you can do. It's what back to the movie The Untouchables. Remember they said, don't bring a knife to a gunfight? This is a gunfight. Only the Democrats have known it's been a gunfight for 4 years. The Republicans are still waking up to that fact.
That really all comes back to the very guy in the Oval Office who's a disruptor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there'd be a politician, let alone a Republican, that would say, hey, you need to go after these people. We would just kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And like him or not, he's not letting it go. What do you make of the people that are attacking him for holding these people accountable?
They don't have a leg to stand on. He needs to hold these people accountable. It needs to be done. This is not, yes, it could be, you could call it retribution. It is justice. And in America, if you know that something unjust, you've been the victim of injustice and nobody rectifies it, then you no longer believe in the system. And we've watched it over and over and over and over again. For the last 10 years, all I've heard is we'll conduct a hearing on this. We'll talk about this. We'll do something about it. And then nothing ever happens. The Republicans need to have a back surgery to put in vertebrae.
Well, and then it goes back to how important the House is.
Yeah.
I mean, Representative Comer.
Oh, we're on a razor's edge. We could stand or fall depending on our control of both the House and the Senate. And in the Senate, and I don't want to get off track, but if they blow up the filibuster and the Democrats ever get back in, then it is all over.
It is. Where are we moving to? I know Bob's looking at properties for all of us.
Yeah, I know. We're all going to move to, is it Montana he's going to?
Wyoming.
Wyoming,
We can afford Wyoming. We can't really afford Montana.
No, we can't afford Montana, but the wind blows an awful lot in Wyoming.
That keeps everybody out. Yeah, that's why we'll finally find a home. More with our great friend Chris Troupis next, 580 KIDO. And welcome back. Our friend Chris Troupis joining us, repeating our top story, Operation Arctic Frost. You were on the list. Your brother is still being prosecuted. What do you say to people that think that this is just white noise? What would have happened? I mean, what could have happened to you?
Oh, I could be in jail right now.
What would be your crime?
Certainly would have been disbarred. Yeah, that's a good question.
The false electors, stirring the rebellion or whatever?
Yeah, basically insurrection, promoting, misinformation. I don't know. I mean,
remember as a little kid reading about that word insurrection and nobody used it until a couple of years. I mean, that was just an antiquated word, insurrection.
Yeah, I think last I heard it was about Fort Sumter.
Yeah, yeah. But back to it's amazing, and shows that we're talking about. It used to be where Art Bell and George Norrie, or God rest his soul, Boyle Greitz, Alex Jones. It would be all these conspiracy theories. But you, as a lawyer, an officer of the court, a patriot, is this a conspiracy or is this real life now?
Well, this is real life. This is as real as it gets. And I'm telling everybody, my quote. I mean,
Hold on here. Back to the quote.
Go enjoy your beer and ride your ATV and watch sports. We'll run the country.
People are anesthetized to the reality around them. They're so they don't understand it. We need more people who are willing to put their necks on the line. And I realized that I was putting my neck on the line. I knew that something could happen. Now, I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect the FBI to have any interest in me. But the fact that they did means they have an interest in a whole lot of people who probably don't think that they have an interest in them.
Right, but then you think of the FBI, and they were always the people that protected us, and the prosecution of the Catholics, the Christians, the pro-life people. It's really been perverted under the Biden Justice Department, and we don't have the media. The media, again, useful idiots, complicit in this by vilifying these people.
Yeah, and the FBI, we say that we had it. The problem with the Justice Department right now, they had to fire 250 lawyers when Trump took office. From my knowledge, they've only been able to hire 11 so far to replace him, because deep down in the bowels of the Justice Department, there are Democrat operatives who are slow walking things, who are obfuscating things. So whether or not the Justice Department really is clean right now, I wonder.
Well, it would be impossible.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're there. And again, I don't know if you'll agree with this analogy. It's like the Sith in Star Wars.
Yeah.
These bad guys, you don't know who they are.
It's the evil empire.
Right.
That's what my sister said last night. She says, you could say it's an evil empire. He says, oh, come on. And you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's exactly what it is.
So what's the lesson, though, for all of us then?
Well, it's Philippians 4, 8, and 9. Think on the good things. Think on the things that are honorable, that are respectful. You keep your mind clear of all of this, and persevere. Have faith that that the right will ride out. It will win out, and that good will triumph. And if it doesn't, do your best. Continue to do your best.
Back to Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Yeah.
What's the message there? What was the left trying to do? And many people are, saying, was this a conspiracy? Was this a loon? But I mean, what message was sent with his assassination?
It was, don't speak up.
Yeah.
It was, just fall in line with everybody else. Just go back to the life that go back to other things in life and forget about all of this. The country's ours. It's not yours.
You think he was becoming, they were investigating him too.
Oh, absolutely. He was on the same list that I'm on.
Yeah, you and Charlie Kirk were on the same list, but...
It's great company. I mean, there are some really good people on that list.
Well, I'm sure Tea Party Bob's envious, but Bob, you're on the list too. You're on a different list.
I'm sure he is.
But, I go back to Charlie Kirk and, Chris Troupis, you've seen people in your life come and go, and I can remember this kid, and I go, I didn't get it, but I'm a cynic. But I mean, the fact that he would go do this, and again, remember, it was David Horowitz that started, then Ben Shapiro. Mm-hmm. But Charlie had a way, because he was so young, and he could talk to them about college football or social media where no one else could. And
he started at age 17.
Yeah.
I looked at, I said after the tragic, terrible, evil thing that happened, I said to my wife, what have I done with my 73, almost 74 years?
Yeah.
I look at what he was able to accomplish. I said, how have I wasted so much time?
Oh, she probably gave you a list.
Yeah, she probably did.
Well, but and the thing about Charlie Kirk is God had to be there for him because
Oh yeah.
at 17, and look, when you were running campaigns and you were running your you had to get donors and you had to get people. And then this kid all of a sudden comes up to these people and they believe it and they give him money.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's because he was over 6 feet tall. I really think that's the deal. You know, tall, good-looking young kid.
You know, I know. I'm so. Now you're hitting one close to home for all of us here. Yes, yeah. They could go in the low post. You and I were outside shooters.
That's
the whole
absolutely,
time.
and I wasn't even that good.
Right. Yeah, but we just throw up the bricks. But yeah, Charlie Kirk, and then you have the people that were laughing and stuff, and you're like, dude, get right with your God, because obviously you're not.
Yeah, and we're supposed to love those people.
Yeah,
we're supposed to
pray for your
realize
enemies,
that they're
yeah.
lost and all that. And I have a hard time. I'm trying. I still pray for them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I don't want justice to be done. And what I'd really like is for them to wake up. And I don't know what'll wake them up, because, like you said, the media is controlled. And all they get is this constant cesspool of crap that's, poured into their minds. I don't know where.
And we don't get the benefit of the doubt as conservatives.
Oh no.
Yeah. Chris Troupis, final takeaway. I mean, hopefully you'll come back.
Oh, absolutely. Love to come back, because now it doesn't matter.
Hopefully I'll be here when you come back. But yes, we'd love to have you back.
You better be here. You bet. We need you. We need you very badly,
Thank
Kevin. I just say, don't lose faith. Don't lose your sense of dignity and honor, and don't stop looking for the good people in your life that you can impact. Those are the people who will make a difference.
Chris Troupis, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.